what's up you guys? It's David Opke over here, $1 million real estate agent plus $1 million investor. Now I want to talk with you guys here about how I buy my rental properties. And the cool thing is that I'm actually working on a contract right now on a rental property, and I thought this is the perfect video to make for you guys to run through exactly all the numbers that I do, which is the Foursquare method, to analyze exactly if this is the right property for me, and also how much money I'm putting in, how much it's going to cost me, and how much I'm actually getting out.
Does your life matter? Does your life matter? You ready for this? You ready to take control? Are you giving up control or are you taking control?
Now, the apartment that we're going to be analyzing today is a two-family home, and we're going to run through the numbers to see if this is the right property for me to buy, but also how can you guys analyze properties that you want to buy in the future. We're going to start it off with income, how much income this property is going to produce. So it's right over here, income, underline. Now let's analyze the rental income. Now this is a two-family townhome. So two-family home, the ground unit is actually a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath with a basement, and that one fetches $3,250. Unit number 2 is going to be a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, and that fetches $2,500 in this area, which leads us to a combined total of $5,750 a month as our rental income. And that's using comps. So comps is comparatives around the neighborhood, seeing how much units in that neighborhood are renting for the renovations and comparing them to what we have. And once we get that, we can figure out the number of what we're getting. Now, there can be also different types of income coming in. For example, you might have laundry. You might have storage. And then you might have any type of miscellaneous costs. With this property, we actually have a storage, and storage can rent for around $100 a month. Now, we're gonna add up all the numbers so we can get our total monthly income. So our total monthly income, which will be here, let's write it out. Total monthly income will come out to $5,850. So now that we have our income and we know exactly what our monthly income is going to be, we can get to step number 2. So we know how much money we're bringing in, so we need to figure out how much money we're pushing out. What is it going to cost us to purchase this property? Now, I don't know if I told you the purchase price before, but we're negotiating a deal and we have a contract out at $350,000. So this property is going to cost us $350,000. We're going to go into the breakdown a little bit later into the video about how much cash on cash it's going to make us and also the ROI. But first, we have to estimate the expenses, which is going to be right over here. So first off is taxes. And if you don't know the taxes, you can go call the Department of Buildings or do your own research and find the actual taxes for the property. The taxes for this property comes out to $12,753 a year. Now, a second expense that we're going to incur is insurance. And actually, I got quoted by my insurance company. I just gave them a call and asked, hey, how much is insurance going to cost me for this building? Which you can. And they quoted me around $3,200 a year for insurance. Another thing you guys have to look into is utilities. Now, utilities, got it, actually breaks down to many different things. So you have electric, you can have water, sewer, and gas. Now, in this property, we're not going to pay the electric, we're not going to pay the sewer, and we're not going to pay the gas, but we are going to estimate the water, because sometimes with these properties, we actually pay as landlords the water. So the water, we're estimating around $250 a month, which comes out to $3,000 yearly. Now, in some buildings, you have something called the homeowner association, which is HOA, but in our building, you don't. So we're gonna put 0 over here, 0 over here, 0 over here, and 0 over here. But that's another expense that you guys should know. If you guys are buying certain places, if it's condominiums or it's co-ops, then you have to know all your expenses so you can know exactly how much this property is gonna cost you. Something else that I estimate as well, and I think every landlord should always estimate, is a vacancy. Now, what does vacancy mean? Vacancy actually means how many times out of the year is this apartment going to be vacant? If someone is moving out, how long is it going to take me to actually rent this property out, and how long am I not going to collect rent? I typically estimate a 5% vacancy on every property of mine. So for this specific property, the vacancy comes out at 5%, which is 3510. And the way I get this number is by actually taking 5850, timesing it by 12, getting my yearly monthly income, and then timesing it by 5% and finding out exactly the vacancy rate, which is right over here. Now, a lot of things that people don't estimate, it's gonna be repairs and CapEx, which coincide together. Now, what is repairs? What is CapEx? Repairs is anytime you're gonna have to fix something inside the home. And typically, if you're doing a pretty new house, then you don't have to repair too much, but it's always good to know exactly how much is it gonna cost me to repair, let's say, a faucet and everything, and you wanna put some money on the side. On top of that, with a CapEx, it's called replacing things. Now, every 15, 20 years, you're gonna have to replace the roof. You're gonna have to replace a lot of things. For example, you're gonna have to replace the stove, you're gonna have to replace gas, you're gonna have to replace fridges. And the thing is, if you don't estimate these costs, then what ends up happening is in 15, 20 years or 10 years or 5 years, you might have something that you need to replace and you don't have the budget to do it from. So when I'm running numbers, I wanna know exactly how much everything is gonna cost me around so I can calculate for that. And I can always have some money on the side. Now with this property, I estimated $150 a month aside for both CapEx and repairs, which comes out to $1,800 a year each. Another thing you guys have to calculate is a property manager. Now, I manage my own properties right now, but in the future, I might not want to. So the question is, how much is it gonna cost? Now, a property manager and property management can cost anywhere from 6 to 10%. Now, I have someone that's willing to do it for 8%. I know a few great companies. So to get that 8%, you have to take the monthly income, times it by 12, just like you did with the vacancy, and then times it by 8%. You get a total estimated cost of $56.16. $56.16. So the last thing you need to know is also your mortgage, because that's also going to be an expense. Now, we're buying this property for $350K, right? And we're getting a mortgage for $280K, because we're putting 20% down, which is going to be something that we're going to need to know later, which equals $70K. Now, at a 2.75% interest rate, we're getting a mortgage rate of $1143 a month, and that's going to be our mortgage payment. So, if you guys don't know how to calculate how much a mortgage is going to be, you can go ahead and get pre-approved with a mortgage broker right now to see what you qualify for into buying, but also the rates that are actually going in the market and what you might be approved for, and also the down payment that they might ask. Now, if you want to calculate it yourself, your mortgage payments, what you can do is go on Google and type in free mortgage calculator. There's so much free calculators out there that you can just throw in numbers and interest rates and actually come out with what your principal and interest is going to be on a monthly basis. And once you get that, then you can qualify this in, and you can also start throwing this number in to know exactly what your total monthly expenses are going to be. We got all the expenses now, and now we're going to get the total monthly expenses, which is going to be $37.83 a month. So we're gonna write that down over here, 3783. We're definitely gonna need this number, and boom, let's box this right in. So we have the income, we have the expenses. Now we calculate something called cash flow. And that's how much cash is actually coming in. So let's write it up here. And it's actually super simple to calculate cash flow. All you need is your income minus your expenses, which is gonna be, right here we have our income, which is $58.50. And our expenses, we have it over here, right? Minus $37.83. Our total monthly cash flow comes out to $2,067 every month. So that's how much profit we're making. That's pretty much net profit in the end of the day, right? You take your income, you take your expenses, you figure out exactly how much you're gonna make renting out the units, how much it's gonna cost you to actually have the building and have the property and all the management's vacancy and so forth, and then you estimate it, and then you're gonna be profiting $2,067. But now, I'm telling you guys you're gonna be profiting $2,067 per month. Now, what does that actually mean? Is $2,067 a good profit to make on this property a month? You gotta find that out. Now, that's called what is a cash on cash? What is your ROI? What is your return on investment? And that's when we get in here. So we write cash on cash, return on investment, which is ROI. And this is our next step. The second we get this, we know exactly where we are. Now, the way we get this, we're gonna have to run into a few things. First of all, it's how much money are we putting in the property? So it's down payment, and we already established our down payment, right guys? Our down payment is gonna be 20%, which is $70,000. So we have over here $70,000, and then we're gonna have closing costs. And closing costs, we can estimate it at around $15,000. On top of that, this property that I'm currently buying for $350,000, the reason I'm getting such a good deal on it is because I need to rehab it. It's not in the best situation, and I'm gonna need new floors, a few new windows, and so forth. I estimated the rehab, which is right over here, sorry guys, at around $85,000. And on top of that, when I do rehab on a property, but also I'm going to close on a property, I always estimate a miscellaneous cost, because you never know what might pop up, and I'd rather estimate it in the beginning rather than have it hit me in the end and not know that, oh, I lost money. You know what? On a good day, if I save that money and there's no other things that pop up, then great, I made an extra $10,000, which is what I'm gonna estimate for this property. But on a bad day, if something does come, especially when you're doing rehab and construction and you're working on a property, you're always gonna have weird things pop up, and that might cost you extra. You might have a change work order, some price of something that you're gonna buy might go up, so you need to estimate it, or you might have extra closing costs or title fees. So I always put it in. So now we have an extra $10,000, and this all comes out to $180,000. Now, we're gonna categorize this as your total investment into the property. So now, we have our total investment. In order to get our ROI, we need to estimate the annual cash flow. So annual cash flow divided by your total investment. Now, we have our monthly cash flow up here, but if we times it by 12, we actually get, for the annual cash flow, $24,804. And now we're gonna divide that by the $180,000. And then when we divide, let's do it right now together. So we have 24,804 divided by $180,000, you come out with a weird number like this, guys, where it's 0.137. But you guys have to times it by 100, and then you get a percentage. So your ROI is going to be 13.78%. Now, what does that mean? You're telling me, David, we got 13.78%. I don't know what that means. Is it a good building? Is it not a good building? There's so much other things. Should I buy it? Should I not buy it? Let me explain it to you. Right now, it's really to each their own. If you're investing in stocks and you're making around 2 to 5% a year, then this is an amazing deal because you can make close to 2 and 3 times the money you're making on your stock portfolio. Now, there's a lot of things that we didn't calculate here. For example, is $350 a good purchase price? What happens if I want to flip the property? And so forth. Now, all of this comes out later. Now, if this property is really worth $1 million and we bought it for $350, then what? We got one heck of a deal, right? It might not rent for a lot, but we got one heck of a deal. We got a $1 million property for $350. Now, on top of that, if we want to flip this, we can make a lot more money. We can get a lot more return on our investment. Now, the question is, what are you guys looking to do? But this is the basic numbers. This is how I estimate income, expenses, cash flow, and my ROI to know if it's a good property for me. After I did all this math, I realized that, hey, this is an amazing property because even at a 7.5 or 8% ROI, I would be running after this deal. And if I can keep my renovation costs down, my rehab costs down, my closing costs down, and I can get it for this price, then I'm gonna kill it. Right now, we agreed to the price, but the renovation, we're still yet to see. I had a contractor in there. He said it is doable, but it might cost a little bit more. But if we can keep it around over here, I'm gonna have an ROI of 13% on a property like this, which is super amazing because I will be making around $24,000 a year holding this property. And remember, guys, this is with the property manager. If I manage it myself, then I can even make close to $29,000, $30,000, around $29,000 to $30,000 every year just by having this property. And the coolest part is we estimated the mortgage and it's paying itself off. So also I'm getting more interest because remember, guys, mortgage is broken into 2 things. One is principal, one is interest. The bank is making their interest, which is right here, but then again, I'm also paying principal. And principal is I'm paying money off of my actual mortgage. So every year, my mortgage, or better yet, every month my mortgage goes down how much I owe for the property. So I'm also building up interest in an asset. I appreciate you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video and I hope this lets you know a lot of things. Comment down below if this helped you out or if you have any other questions. I'll be running through the comments, answering all the questions. And if you still don't understand it or you want to take your business to the next level, use the email in the description. I do have a mentorship program where I teach people one-on-one how to elevate their business, but also become rockstar agents and find great properties and do the math and make sure that you guys are doing the best. I love you guys. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Been a little too nice for y'all. Now I got to up price on y'all. Snake eyes on dice for y'all. Shoulders on ice for y'all. A6 all the hate. I woke in a bar today. Got lost in the ball and A's. I'm flipping the bars. I'm flipping the on record, off record. I still count wins when they got it.